So, Spider-Man Far From Home, the new trailer dropped. Simon says he doesn't like it. Not that I don't like the story or the villain. It looks phenomenal in terms of special effects and what's going on, the action. I don't like what they're doing to Peter Parker. Okay? Peter Parker should not be relegated to a sidekick. He doesn't need Tony Stark to show him how to be a hero. Tony Stark doesn't even know how to be a freaking hero. He just learned 2 seconds ago. And then he died. Okay? Tony Stark shouldn't be telling anybody how to be a hero, least of all Peter Parker, who could teach him 70,000 things about being a hero. Okay? I know that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is not the same as the comic books, but still, you're doing Spider-Man and Peter Parker a great disservice by having him measure himself against Tony Stark. I can't tell you how much that line pissed me off. Are you ready to be the new Iron Man? What? No, he's ready to be the one and only Spider-Man. Okay? And Spider-Man is way better than Iron Man. He's a much better character. He is much more important. And he is a much better hero than Iron Man ever will be. Okay? Tony Stark literally just learned how to be a hero. Again. And now he's dead. So, let's not take any lessons from Tony Egomaniac Stark. The other issue I have is, so apparently all of his supporting cast just happened to get snapped as well, because like they're all back and they're all the same size, or the same age rather, and that kind of bothers me. I mean, come on, I understand that this is still Sony and it's not really Marvel, whatever, but you got your own story to tell, you got your supporting cast that you signed up for multiple movies and all that stuff, but I mean, come on. You're working with a continuity, so let's get into continuity. This is comics. Let's make it work. My last grief with this new Spider-Man and this franchise is with Mary Jane and Flash Thompson, and I think that's it. But yeah, I mean, one, I'm not really crazy about Tom Holland. I think he does an okay job. I mean, I don't know why he just doesn't look like Peter Parker to me. That's my personal preference. To Mary Jane, I don't understand the thought process here. So like, okay, if you want to cast a character of a different race, that's fine with me. Okay, but if you're gonna cast a guy or a girl or whatever that doesn't look like the character and doesn't act like the character, because to me, she doesn't really act like Mary Jane. And Mary Jane is, central to Spider-Man mythos. I mean, she is a big part of Spider-Man coming out of his shell and, kind of learning to accept Peter Parker, not just, being able to be the cool, witty, charismatic person as Spider-Man, but also as Peter Parker. She really brings that out in him. And then there's some issues of like, he also feels a little bit possessive or jealous of Mary Jane because she's so pretty. I don't get it, because I don't feel like Zendaya, is that her name? Anyway, I don't feel like she portrays that. I don't think that she feels like Mary Jane at all. I mean, if you didn't know what she looked like and you just went based off her performance and what she says, I wouldn't have ever guessed that it would be Mary Jane. If you called her something else, I would be like, okay, that makes sense, whatever. And I would have never guessed that that character was supposed to be Mary Jane. And my only issue with this stuff is, like, I don't understand. If you're going to make a character that doesn't look like the character and it doesn't act like the character, then why call it the character? Why not just make it another character? Like, you could make it Liz Allen. She's really not that important. I mean, she is in the Spider-Man, history as well, but... And yes, I know they used her in a Homecoming, but I mean, regardless, they could have made it anybody else. Betty Brant, for crying out loud. It's somebody else that doesn't act, that isn't as central to the Spider-Man character as Mary Jane, especially if they're not going to act like it. Now, Flash Thompson is another thing that bothers me because, I mean, not that he's Indian, as he's not a jock, and he doesn't have that. He's kind of a bully in that he's one of these new age bullies where like they say mean things, but like Flash Thompson was a bully. He was an athletic. He like punched, he physically assaulted Peter Parker. It was a thing. And yes, that's a thing that happened between lots of guys, and I fought all my friends at some point in time, and now we're friends. So I mean, that's a thing that happens in high school and whatever, or at least it did when I was in high school. And you can still be okay with it. And I don't like it because it doesn't seem like he's really a jock. And one of the things about Flash Thompson is that, fine, maybe not for this movie or the next movie or whatever, but eventually Flash Thompson, spoilers, 1, 2, 3 in the comics, becomes Venom. And he becomes Venom because he is such an athletic person and he looks up to Spider-Man so much that he enrolls in the military. I mean, that's a way that he feels like he can use his athletic body and his heroic, the inspiration that Spider-Man provides him, through his heroics, to be his own hero. And he winds up losing his legs and he becomes Venom. And it does Flash Thompson a disservice by not adhering to that character model. I feel like you're ridding yourself of a possible story arc and character development, for no reason. Even if you wanted to make it an indie guy, make it an indie guy who's athletic. I mean, what's the problem? I just don't get it. Again, it's one of those things where if you're gonna make the guy different, look different, and act different, or whatever, or do things that are not central to his character or important to his character, make it another character. Like, it's okay to make other characters. Arrow did it. They made John Diggle, and he's awesome. They made Felicity, and she's cool. And you can get away with making new characters in established, continuity and get away with it. Plenty of other times it's been shown that it's been done, so I don't understand why we can't do it here. And I mean, that's it. I mean, everything else about the movie looks good. I like the way Mysterio looks. I like Hydro Man. I like the action. I do like the suits, all the suits. I would rather he stick to the regular Spider-Man suit instead of the Iron Spider. Again, that's more of a, why do we have to keep going back to the, Tony Stark? Spider-Man doesn't need Tony Stark. He's never needed Tony Stark before in the comic books. Like, he has had a long run of being a solo hero. And one of the cool things about Spider-Man is all of the things he's managed to accomplish by himself. Working by himself, against impossible odds. I mean, that's one of Spider-Man's big things. That dude right there, that dude don't need Tony Stark. Neither does that one, but that one doesn't either. And it's kind of sad that, the Marvel Cinematic Universe thinks he does. Like, I get Tony Stark was important to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I mean, we don't need to take away Peter Parker's accomplishments to bring up Tony Stark. He's gone, let him be gone. It can affect him emotionally or whatever, but it also feels like they're replacing Uncle Ben with Tony Stark, and that, I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. Like, all of a sudden he's inspired to be a hero, better hero because of Tony Stark. What happened to Uncle Ben? Uncle Ben had the one line that, like, is literally one of the possibly greatest lines of all time. With great power comes with great responsibility. And that's the only line you need for him to be a hero. I mean, that is literally, if we think about what that line means and how we can apply it to our life and real life, I mean, we don't need Tony Stark. We don't need Iron Man to tell us that. And it's a shame. So, that's all I have to say about that trailer. I'll still go see it because I like Spider-Man, I'm going to be honest. But I mean, I don't like that they're taking that route with him. I wish they would have done it a route. Because again, I feel like we're going to have a generation of people who think that, Spider-Man owes everything to Tony Stark. He owes his suit to Tony Stark. He owes his training to Tony Stark. His motivation to Tony Stark. That's kind of ridiculous. And it does a disservice to Spider-Man himself. That he needs somebody else, especially somebody like Tony Stark, to teach him what it means to be a hero and all that. That's kind of ridiculous. Anyway, this is Jose Simon with another Jose Simon Says. I know it's a short one, and I apologize. We'll see you soon.